few more moments.
Oh, sorry.
You're good to start whenever you're ready.
Sorry. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the welcome to the sorry, I had the wrong thing open. The November 30th meeting of the CB6 Business Affairs and Licensing Committee. My name is Claire Brennan, and I am the chair of this committee. The meeting is called to order at 6:33 p.m. Tonight, we are joined by Community Associate Alex Crawford and District Manager Jesus Perez. Members of the public, you can raise any questions or comments that you have through the Q&A feature of Zoom. If there's time following the committee's discussion, we will field questions from the public. We do not have any minutes to adopt at tonight's meeting because no one volunteered to take them at October's meeting. Therefore, these minutes still need to be drafted. We can talk about that later because more immediately, we need someone to do the minutes tonight.
Hi, Claire.
I volunteer, Claire.
Okay. Sorry, actually, I saw Susan. Thank you for that, Susan. But the other person who offered, oh, is that Anton?
Yeah, my computer doesn't have a camera, so I'm doing this from my cell phone.
Got it. Well, thank you for offering. I will take you up on it next time and have Susan do them this time. Thank you, Susan. So Susan will take minutes, and now we will take attendance by roll call. Alexandra, do you mind doing the roll call?
Yeah, of course. Committee members, I will call your name and you will unmute yourselves. When your name is called, please say present. I will announce if there is quorum. Claire Brennan.
I'm here.
Charles Fernandez.
Present.
Paige Judge. Paige Judge. Anton Malner.
I'm here.
Seema Shah. I know Seema's coming a little bit late. Yeah.
Yeah.
Susan Steinberg.
Here.
Michael Devereaux.
Present.
Dan Devine. Dan Devine. Jeannie D'Onofrio.
Present.
John Keller. John Keller. Kevin O'Keefe.
Present.
We have quorum.
Great. Thank you very much. The agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board office and appears on the screen before you. If there is no objection, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Members of the committee, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand through Zoom. I don't see any hands. So, seeing no objections, the agenda for tonight's meeting is adopted. In order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe the ground rules that we all know and love already. No one may speak until granted the floor. Committee members, if you have a question about committee business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. The chat function should not be used for committee business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. chat should only be used to alert us of any technical issues that you're having or state in writing information like an email address or phone number that was already stated out loud during the meeting. When a committee member is given the floor to speak, I will identify you and you can unmute yourself in order to speak. We are required by the New York State law to have a transcript of the meeting, so please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. So we are going to move into committee business, but sorry. Before we do that, I want to let you all know of kind of a new way that we're trying out going through the agenda for this session. We'll see how it works. And then if we like it, we can continue doing this method. There was like an issue from last month that I didn't catch, but in the resolution that we wrote, we included incorrect hours for an establishment. So we just want to make sure that everything is clear and correct. And we figured that in doing this in the moment and kind of, plugging in information to a resolution altogether while we have the representatives as well, so we're all clear and on the same page, might be an idea to avoid a situation like that in the future. So Alexandra is going to have a template up with the information from each application, and then we can edit it together as we see fit. And then there might be a few more edits, just like formatting and maybe like filling in some small words here and there after the fact, but we'll all kind of come to consensus on the general details of the resolution together here. I don't know, Jesus and Alexandra, do you have anything to add to that, or?
No, that's largely what it is. One of the ideas behind this new approach is that since quite a bit of the information that is in the resolutions for these applications is already known ahead of time, what we would do is we would pre-populate that into reso form already, and it would be it'll already be there in the draft reso, so no one has to do that afterwards. And but I guess the best way perhaps to show it is to actually show it once we get to our first applicant, and then if maybe during chair's report, if people have any questions about the new process, those can be asked at that time.
Sounds good. Thank you, Jesus. So we can move on. I just wanted to kind of orient folks to that briefly now, but we can talk about it at the end of the meeting as well. So our first agenda item is a new on-premises license for Cecil Dalton LLC, doing business as Lagos Restaurant and Lounge at 306 East 49th Street. So I see a few representatives from Lagos here tonight. If you all can introduce yourselves and walk us through your application, that would be helpful.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, my name is Terrence Flynn, and I'm the representative for the applicant. Basically, we provide you the application before you with a copy of the diagrams and the menu and their certificate of occupancy. The premises will operate between 12 and 2 a.m., which are the current hours. We're buying the existing business that's there. So those are the hours of the business that's there right now. The occupancy of the premises, we believe is 140. We're waiting to get confirmation of that from the building department. There are 16 tables. There are 60 chairs. There's one bar with 15 stools. There is no outdoor space. There is a DJ and pre-recorded music. The basement level has just office space, restrooms, and storage. There is no one down there consuming alcohol. We've provided you with a menu so that you have that. Food will be available at all hours up to 1 hour before closing. If you have any other questions, I'm more than happy to answer them.
Okay, I'm gonna throw it over to Jeannie, who's raising her hand.
Hi there.
Hi,
I think my
Jeannie.
camera's messed up, so I'm gonna shut it off for a second.
Oh, no worries.
Okay, I just have a quick question about the windows being open during certain hours. It's only between, I'm looking at the application, 2 to 6 p.m. I
That's
just want to
correct.
make sure that's okay. That's exactly what you want. Just 2 to 6 p.m. The windows open in the summer.
That's what the client asked for. Yes, basically during the daytime, during the nice time of year, that's it.
Okay.
Susan, did you have a question too?
Yeah, is this a 7-day-a-week operation?
Yes,
And the hours are noon to 2 a.m., 7 days a week?
yeah, I believe so. Yes, just let me verify that for you. Yes,
I see. Sorry, can I just add? I see 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. Monday through Friday, and then 12 p.m. to 2 a.m.
yeah, I think that's a mistake on the 2 p.m. That's supposed to be 12 p.m. The one just didn't come through because they are going to have lunch.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anton? Anton, I'm not sure if you're speaking, but we can't hear you. Maybe we'll come back to you, Anton. So I just also want to provide a little bit of additional context to this application. We invited this establishment was on the agenda to join us last month, and they did not show. So we were forced to write a resolution of no support, but that was under a different business name. So this establishment has received a lot of correspondence from the neighborhood about its operation, and we've received a lot of complaints from the community about Lagos in general. They were operating under an old license, and the SLA has been involved here. So I just wanted to provide that extra context, and maybe someone else, I know that Keith Powers' office has been in communication, and the CB6 as well has been talking to Lagos a lot on the back end. So I personally, and based on the resolution that was drafted from last month, I am inclined to just write an additional resolution for Cecil Dalton doing business as Lagos restaurant. That would be a resolution of objection based on this, but I'm just wondering if anyone else has any questions, and we do have a few questions from the public.
And I just have one point. Last month, when we adjourned the matter, we sent an email adjourning the matter because one of the members of the company was sick. And we sent that email to your offices before the meeting. And it was acknowledged that it was received.
Yeah, we definitely, I think I said that you didn't show up because of an illness, but we were expecting you to come. And I think that email was rather last minute, especially based on the context that we're working with here. Again, like a ton of complaints, not a lot of transparency on ownership of the license, and frankly, a lot of bad neighbor complaints. So, Jesus, I'm not sure if you were going to say something.
Oh, Mr. Flynn is correct. We did get them. It was rather last minute, but yes, just to correct the record, the resolution that was passed last month was not because they didn't show up. We can't, we're not going to penalize them for being ill. It was because of all the complaints that the office has received from the community about their operations. That was the reason for the resolution. And speaking of complaints and feedback from the community, there do appear to be some questions in the Q&A. There's a Mr. Dan Ellman who requests the floor. If the chair agrees, we can give him the floor.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You can unmute yourself.
Okay, how's that?
Great. Thanks, Dan.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Yeah, and I would just encourage you to be succinct and
yes, I just have a couple of things to say.
Thank you.
I live on the block where this establishment is situated, and I'm speaking for myself and for some of my neighbors. And I'm sure the committee by now is aware of Lagos's utter indifference toward the residents of the block and toward the community at large, and of the horrendous behavior night after night of many of the people coming to this establishment. I'm talking about noise, loitering, blasting music at all hours, illegal parking, and there's worse than that, trust me. I would hope that the committee would deny their request on this basis alone, but there's another simple issue, and that is this establishment has been breaking the law night in, night out by serving liquor without a liquor license. They've been doing it for a year, maybe longer. And I think it's time for the committee to put a stop to it. Thanks. Thanks for your good work, and thanks for hearing me.
Thank you, Dan, for that additional context. Is there
An additional comment by Mr. Jeremy Smith. Mr. Jeremy Smith indicates that the license has since been canceled by the SLA. What Mr. Smith is referring to is that early last week, there was a meeting of the State Liquor Authority at which the license that we've been informed Lagos is availing themselves of, which used to belong to Marshall Street. That particular license has been canceled. So that is what Mr. Smith is referring to.
Yeah, and just to clarify, what I think it was Dan was saying, and in our resolution from last month, the last resolve was that we as a board were going to urge the liquor authority to not grant Lagos a liquor license should they apply for one in the future. So that is, was in our last resolution as well. So that kind of definitely paved the path for, that was in case, there was no representative this month as well, we would have written a resolution of no support. Jeannie, did you have a question?
Yes, thanks, Claire. I just want some clarification. So right now, my question is, are they operating without a license? And if they are, is tonight, their application, from what I'm seeing, is they're applying for a new license? Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, just can I clarify something just so we're clear? This is a new group that was under contract to buy it. It wasn't the same people who own it now.
So just to ask a question to Terrence on that then. So those folks that are on this application have not been operating in Lagos at all?
Yeah, they should answer that themselves. They're on the line. As far as I know, they are not the operators of this premise, but they can answer that question.
Yeah, I'd like to know how they got into how they found Lagos and the reason for purchasing it and how long they've been interested. I want to know the history.
Okay, can you please respond to that? Hold on, let me just reach out to them.
Hello?
Hello? Can you state your name for the record before you speak?
Brad?
What was that? Sorry.
Brad.
Brad?
Yes.
Do you have a last name, Brad?
Obioha.
Can you spell that for us?
Obiha.
Okay. So you are not the current owner of this establishment?
Yes, ma'am. But before I even, I don't know, I want to actually answer a few questions, a few things that was said in the past. But to answer your question, we are in partnership. We were working with the former owners of Lava Corp, and we're trying to transfer it now to a different business. But the same owners from Lava Corp are involved with it. We just changed the name to Lagos. We brought in a new concept and brought in new food. The same wings they served, the same people are still in the company.
So that is not what Terrence just said.
Yes, that's news to me, but go ahead. I'm glad you answered the question.
Yeah, so we're trying to switch it now to our company and have the same people under Lava Corp. Well,
Right. So you are, Jeannie's question was, you are operating and serving liquor currently without a liquor license, and you have been for months.
Ma'am, we're operating and serving liquor under a liquor license that expires in 2022 for Lava Corp. Yes.
I think that was revoked, that license.
It's canceled. There's a difference. The SLA makes a
Okay,
distinction
sorry.
between revocation and cancellation. Tuesday, I believe, of last week, the SLA canceled the license for local.
We had no clue. I'm just hearing about this for the first time. We had I think we had adjourned to the December 23rd to sit down with the SLA, but we're not informed that it was canceled or revoked.
Okay, well, that is the case. It's been for a week now.
I think Susan has a question. I'm not sure.
Okay, yep, Susan.
Thank
Thanks.
you. I can't find the raised hand in the participants. I
No
don't know
worries.
why.
I can see your hand when you do it.
So
And-
this is all sounding very murky. Here's what it sounds like to me, that this new group is working with the old owners who did all this bad stuff that resulted in all these neighborhood complaints under a license that has now been canceled. and they're coming to us and they want us to approve a new OP. And if I may say, this sounds like the new owners need to sit down with the SLA and see what they, to meet with them and then come back to us, because this is just a situation that I can't see clearly. I mean, I don't understand how we can approve something like this.
Can I just add to this? Because it sounds like to me, my question is, these current applicants have been working, operating in that business as partners with Lava. So that it's not like they're just walking in for the first time. They've been involved with this establishment for, I don't know how long, but certainly for a while. And now they want to break this partnership and they want to take on this license on their own, a new license. That's my understanding, but I might have that wrong.
No, Jeannie, you are correct. That is the case now. And it seems that their lawyer isn't even clear on the situation as well, which is concerning to me and does not speak.
It's concerning to the lawyer also, since I was not aware of the fact that, one, they had the cancellation because I wasn't handling it. Two, I didn't handle their contract either. It was another attorney. So I didn't know that they were involved in management of the premise. When I asked if other people were running it, they said that the old owners had the place and they were taking it over. I understand exactly where the community board is on this. I don't think we should waste any more of your time, especially since the license has been canceled, according to everyone at last Tuesday's meeting. It is possible that they didn't get that notice in the mail yet, especially with the Thanksgiving holiday, until today or tomorrow even, that they get that notice from the SLA if it took place on Tuesday. So I could see them not knowing about it if that's what took place. But if they said there was an adjournment, then it seems there was no adjournment. So they have to find out what happened exactly at the SLA. And as Susan just said, they have to find out exactly what their role is and everything else here before they move forward.
Thank you, Terrence. I agree with you. I just want to throw it over to Kevin for a second.
Thank you, Claire. With Brad acknowledging that the license is not in effect, and Terrence, I appreciate your transparency on what you just said. Can we get an assurance there will be no alcohol served from this moment forward until this is cleared up?
I can't give you that, but gentlemen, are you willing to give that assurance?
Yes.
So tonight, on until if it does clear up, you will not be serving alcohol at your establishment.
Yes.
Thanks, Kevin. And I just want to reiterate, this has been an ongoing conversation for months between the SLA and Community Board 6 and the council member's office. And so should we see that you all are serving alcohol after this meeting, that will be a huge issue. And the SLA will absolutely become aware of that. There's neighbors, you heard some, there's a lot of chatter in the chat room. There will be people checking up on a regular basis on this. I think, as we've said, there have been numerous issues with the license and the operation as a whole. And I don't think that the principals have really demonstrated competence in the whole process, in owning an establishment, in serving liquor enough to receive an approval from us. But that's not really my decision to officially make. But if someone wanted to make a motion here, I don't see any other hands up or questions.
I move that we object to this OP license.
I second.
Okay. Thank you both. I think that we don't really have a lot on the agenda, so I think that we can go through and do an official vote if it's not too much to ask Alexandra to vote on this.
Yes, absolutely. I can go through the roll call. Claire Brennan,
In favor.
Charles Fernandez,
In favor.
Paige Judge. Paige is not here. Anton Malner. Anton, are you there?
I think he's on mute.
Okay, I can come back to him.
Thank you.
Susan Steinberg,
In favor.
Michael Devereaux,
In favor.
Jeannie D'Onofrio,
In favor.
Kevin O'Keefe. Kevin
In favor.
and Anton.
In favor.
Okay. So the resolution passes with 7 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstentions, and 0 not entitled.
Thanks, Alexandra. I'll write this resolution. It'll be very similar from last month's with just a few edits. I just want to reiterate that you all should not be serving license because you do not have a liquor license. At this point, we're going to send the resolution to the SLA, and sometimes they do approve licenses after, even if we don't support the application. But from now on until you get approval from the SLA, you are not to serve liquor out of your establishment. I hope that's understood.
That's very clear.
It is.
Thank
It is.
you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Claire, there's one of those mock draft resolutions that you mentioned at the beginning of the meeting. Do you want Alex to put it up for the committee to tinker with it if they want to?
Yes, I think that this one is like a little unique for that, but I think that we can look at it as it is now. Okay, so this is what I had mentioned in the beginning, having a template like this that we fill out quickly together as right after we write the resolution. And thank you to Alex for listening to what we were referring to and filling in what you could in the moment. So it would be a resolution of objection. And then this could be something that we might have to, I didn't write down the spelling of the.
Claire, his name is on the application, so you could pick it right off of the application.
Okay, that's great.
Brad Obiha, O-B-I-H-A.
Great.
Is what he said.
Yeah, I
And we
think
can
it's an
double-
O there. I think it's O-B-O-I.
Oh, okay. Well, we can cross check it with the application.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So the establishment, I kind of wish we didn't do this, needs like more context, but I think we can go through it. You know, the establishment is a bar and lounge and restaurant too. So bar, restaurant, and lounge.
And typically the applicants explain the concept of their establishment. So we could always, in this particular case, they did not, but they can, that can be used to inform this part.
The operating hours are 12 p.m. to 2 a.m., 7 days a week.
Thank you for pre-filling these in, but as everyone can see, these are the details that we have from the past. There have been numerous noise complaints, illegal parking. They were selling alcoholic beverages without a proper liquor license. You know, I would add, I think that there were reports of like hookah, which is a different issue that we don't really deal with, but I think that was a concern of the community as well. But issues with noise.
Claire, may I ask you a question about one of these whereas?
Yep.
The question about whereas the New York State Liquor Authority investigated and charged the holders of lava, blah, 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 with various charges. Are you getting that information by email from the SLA? How are you recording that? Like, where are you getting that to record?
So that came up through like numerous conversations that the office had with SLA and with Councilmember Powers' office as well.
Okay.
Are you asking if it's like online for everyone to see?
I just didn't know because this didn't come up throughout the conversation tonight. So I knew there must have been a lot of discussion leading up to the meeting tonight, and just wanted to get a little clarity on that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, so there has been a lot of conversation, and the board has been working tirelessly to kind of get to the bottom of this and learn as many details as they can. But that was all on the back end, just through calls and emails and various meetings between SLA, Keith's office, and the board.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so I don't think everyone can see the board or see what Alexandra's displaying, or do you want me to read it out loud? I'll just keep going through them and kind of give a brief summary, but then we continue on to mention our resolution that we adopted at full board that, as I said, strongly urges this SLA to not grant this establishment a license. Should they apply for one in the future, which is what brings us here today. That's what they're doing. And again, we're rejecting that application. And then it says, last week, the SLA had a full board meeting where Lava 164 Corp street license was officially canceled. And apologies, I'm learning here too. I think everyone is, but there is a difference between cancellation and revocation. So cancellation means that it's, they're not allowed to serve liquor anymore. Is that right, Jesus?
Cancellation means that the license is canceled, so they can't serve liquor anymore. A revocation is the same thing, but it also carries with it a 2-year bar to future licenses. In this particular case, the license was canceled, not revoked.
So it was canceled last week, and they weren't barred from applying for another one, and that's what brings them here today. But we, by resolving to not support,
one of the things that was unclear, that seemed to be unclear for the board and Councilmember Keith's Powers office is just sort of who was behind this Lava Corp license. We got a little bit of information about that tonight, but it seemed to be news to a lot of people, even to the attorney, which I guess is not a good sign. But yes, but regardless, whoever were the true owners of that license, it is now canceled.
Thank you. We didn't make any stipulations. Sometimes we do say you can come back, but I think that it's pretty clear that this we will resolve in the future to not support as well, based on the complaints and just the antics that we've been through. So I think we can delete that line. Yeah, we did hear from some members of the community. And the comments were against. So we resolve that we object to the application, and it was unanimous.
So unless the committee wants to add additional whereas clauses or additional resolved clauses or tinker with it anymore, this is the reso. And ideally, this would be done before the vote happens, so that then then everybody then knows what exactly they're voting on. But this is a new thing that the committee is trying. So maybe for the next one, for the next application, it can be done like in that order. But yeah, unless the committee wants to change this anymore, then Claire, we can hand it over to you and you can make some finishing touches, or this can be the reso.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we'll clarify the spelling of Mr. Obioha's name. We'll indicate what his title is at the establishment, and we'll give it another look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that this, it will get easier as we continue to work through resolutions, and it'll become a little bit more I think seamless, but I do think that this will help us all kind of agree on all of the points, and just have total clarity between all parties. So does anyone have anything else that they would want to see in this resolution, or should we move on to?
Just want to say, Claire, do we want to say anything about having gotten a confirmation from them that they would not serve any liquor until they had the meeting with the SLA?
That's a good point, Susan. Thank you. That I guess would be like a stipulation, saying exactly that. Whereas Lagos, the establishment,
committed to not serving alcohol until they had a properly in order liquor license.
Where would you like the stipulation to be in the resolution?
I think, yeah, exactly where your pointer is, right?
Here?
Yeah.
So, whereas, and
the establishment, what did you just say, Jesus?
Whereas Lagos Restaurant and Lounge committed to not
committed.
to not serving alcohol until
Sorry, serving. Alcohol.
their license is in proper order, or until they have a proper, until they have a valid liquor license. Or something like that, unless the committee wants to workshop that further.
Nope, that's clear and is a good add. So thank you, Susan.
You're welcome.
So I think this looks good to me. And again, for the next one, we'll kind of have this up and then we'll vote on the resolution as is. I just, not to put you on the spot, Kyle, but did you have any additional points you wanted to say or?
Well, appreciate the committee's work on this and also the community for working together on this and obviously bringing attention to this issue to the committee. This looks like a good resolution. Just throwing a thought out there for the committee, maybe do you want to include requesting that the SLA bar them from being able to apply from a committee for a license, just based on all of the weird things we've heard tonight and just sort of the competency we've seen. Just want to throw that out to the committee. Or if you're fine with this, I'm also very fine with this too.
Right. So is that not like what we're doing with this? You
So
probably
what-
just say more like.
Yeah, so what I was thinking is like the difference between the revocation and the cancellation, so that the revocation is a cancellation, but also prevents them from being able to apply within the next 2 years, just based on the behavior of the establishment and also just the presentation we've heard tonight. I don't know if you would want to include in the resolve that the SLA does in fact bar them from being able to apply going forward. Just sort of stressing it, because I think it also maybe adds weight to the resolution in that it's not simply a rejection of this current application, but also just was like really poor behavior. And I don't even know what to call it, competency, because the lawyer and their client were clearly not on the same page either. So as Susan was stating earlier, it is just some shady business going on. And our role is to make sure that we do have good operators in the neighborhood.
Well, maybe the way to handle it, since, we, in a sense, extracted an agreement from them to not serve liquor, just to say something about if they are found to be not in violation, I'm looking for another word, of their commitment, then we definitely recommend that the SLA revoke their license. Something like that.
I would stick with violation because I think it would be a violation of their commitment that they stated here tonight.
Okay.
So that would be another resolve. Right.
Yeah, it could be a further resolve.
Right. Therefore, be it further resolved.
Yeah.
Should.
If the applicant is found to continue to serve alcohol without a proper liquor license, to continue to serve.
Yeah, and as. Thank you to Kyle, because he's been helping out the office.
You could say without a proper or approved SLA license. Then CB6 strongly urges the SLA to, do we want to say revoke or to bar the
Revoke.
applicant from?
Revoke, because it can, bar is part of a revocation.
Well, because right now there's nothing to revoke. That's the only thing, because like they don't have a license to revoke. So it's more of stressing that if they were to continue, like, so that they wouldn't be able to apply going forward.
Okay.
At least in our district.
Right. Yeah, I think bar.
No pun intended, but I'm saying bar.
That was a good one.
Disqualify?
Yeah, to disqualify or prevent the applicant from
obtaining a license in the future. Thank you, Kyle. I think that does add weight.
Yeah, because I think there have been a lot of issues that obviously Claire and the board office have been dealing with. It's not simply that it was a poor presentation today. It's just been a number of issues that have been of great concern.
Exactly.
And I think we've given them a opportunity to fix those issues, and we haven't seen any improvement. So I think it's warranted to be this strong.
Okay, so I think as it stands now, pending any, spelling changes of that sort, I think it looks good as is. But I'll just give a few more seconds if anyone else has a comment to add. Anton, did you want to say something? Or anyone else? Okay, so I think we are good here. Again, I'll switch the order for our next item, which is the renewal of an on-premises license for a Cafe of New York LLC doing business as Babylon at 208 East 34th Street. So is the representative from this establishment here?
Yes, Kathleen Negri-Stathopoulos. I'm the representative for the establishment. I think the client is on the line as well on the phone.
Okay.
He can hear us. He's texting, he can hear us, but nobody can hear him.
So maybe it's the 646 something 062 number.
I can tell you if that's his thing. I could let you know. Let me see. 646, yeah, 6062 it ends in. Yes, that's his number.
So can Alexandra or Jesus elevate that phone number to be a panelist so we can hear from them as well?
Yes, hello.
Yes, okay. That's Ali.
Great.
Yes,
Hello.
hi everyone.
So can you state
Can
your
you hear me
name?
or no?
Yep, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yes, I am.
Great.
Thank you.
So can you clearly state your name for the record and then walk us through your application quickly, please?
Yeah, my name is Ali, A-L-I, Zuza, and last name Dogan, D-O-G-A-N.
So I can just let you know that I submitted the application for renewal of his on-premise liquor license. It's a license that's been in effect since 2011. And then I received an email stating that the community board would like to meet with us due to some sidewalk cafe issues in regard to tables and chairs on the sidewalk, not leaving 8 feet of space for, this is what was in the email, 8 feet of space for the pedestrians as required by the DOT standards.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did my best. I fixed it. My lawyer told me about that. And she has a picture. I sent the picture.
So what my client's stating is after I got that email and I notified the community board that I would be appearing, I did contact the client about the situation, and he scaled back the sidewalk cafe. Now, I'm not sure if this is what the community board was looking for or not, but he did scale back the sidewalk cafe, and he did provide me photographs of that.
Do you mind sharing those?
Sure. Now, I
photographs?
just don't know how do I share them to you?
So are you on a computer right now?
I am, and they're in their PDF in my file, so.
Okay, so you can, there should be like a button where it says share screen. It's green.
Yes, I just, yes.
And then if you click on that, there should be like a panel of like a bunch of windows where you can pick the PDF that he sent you.
It says desktop. I guess I can Google.
Open the PDF first and then click the share screen sign.
Oh, okay. I should open the PDF first. Okay, sorry.
Sorry, good point.
Okay, so the PDF is open.
And then if you go back to that share screen button, the PDF should pop up. You might have to like re-click the button.
Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm so bad.
Don't worry.
Oh, maybe this is it because it kind of came up itself. Yes. Okay, so let's see if this works. This is going to be new if it does. Okay.
Just say like, remind me later. Oh, and then try one more time.
Window is closed. Okay, let me try it again. Okay, good. Collaborator. No.
Great.
Does that work? No, right?
Not quite, but if you like, yep, so we see you moving that. If you could just like double click on, those are the photos that
These are the photos. You want me to double click on, you want me to click on each photo?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and let me just, I don't know. Shoot. Sorry. Okay,
Don't
so
worry.
if I could just move that for you. So this is, so this is the restaurant. Ali, are you there? Can you see? Oh, he can't see this.
Yeah, I'm here. Yes, I'm here.
Can't see it. Okay. I'm gonna go to the next one, okay? Let me just go to the next photo.
I'm trying to open the computer, yes.
I'm sorry, let's see. Let's see, photo two. Photo two.
Oh, it's pretty similar.
Yeah, it is very similar. Let me go to, I'm gonna open them all. Okay, this way you can just see them all and then we can.
Thank you.
Go from there. Okay, that's just from a different, it's a little further away. And then the next two are just the measurements that he was measuring after he made his move. Well, that's just one showing a close-up, but I'll show you the one that's further away. Let's see. And here's the other one. That was the other one. So he was, so if you look in this photo, I don't know, can you see this photo?
Yes.
The sidewalk cafe went out to this.
Yes.
Okay, and so what he did was he moved it back. And then he took this measurement, and the close-up of that, which was photo 5, showed that it actually is 13 feet, according to what the tape is saying. Now, I don't know if that was the issue or not, but that's what he did.
Yeah, you know, this is very clear to me. I appreciate you walking us through this. And as you mentioned, we can see where the structure was previously, and I can tell that the establishment made our corrections in a timely way. So I am appreciative of that.
Thank
Definitely. Yes, thank you for doing that
Thank
so
you.
quickly.
Thank you guys too.
As well. So yeah, that was kind of the reason why we brought you in here, was because of some complaints from the community that we got about the sidewalk situation, the sidewalk seating situation. And it's clear to me that you acted on our request. So I appreciate that. I'll open it up to the rest of the committee to see if there are any questions or clarifications here, but thank you. Again. I don't see any hands raised. And I don't see any questions from members of the public. So does anyone have a motion here? Oh, actually, sorry, we're going to pull up the resolution template first, and we can walk through it. I guess that would have to be after someone made a motion.
No, it can be for 4.
Okay, so.
So Alex, would you pull up the draft reso for this establishment, please?
Hello.
Hi, sorry, we're still here. We're just working on our back end. Thank you, sorry. So I guess what I was saying, without a motion, we are not, it's not clear what the resolution is.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So Jeannie has her hand raised.
If I can just make a motion of no objection.
Okay. I wonder if anyone seconds that motion. Thank you, Jeannie.
Second.
Thanks, Susan. Okay, so that is great. And now we can bring up the template again and have it be a resolution of no objection for this renewal. And in the interest of time, I think we can just type out the attendees after the meeting because we have their names. I guess we didn't really get a description of the establishment. They have been in the area for a long time. And on the application, if that's clarify that's a restaurant, but yeah, if you just want to give us a little bit more background about your establishment and the type.
Ali, do you want to do that, or do you want me to do it? It's up to you.
What is that?
What type of establishment? Do you have a restaurant serving Middle Eastern food?
Restaurant, yeah, lounge, restaurant, and I have a hookah. Yes. I have like Mediterranean food and American food.
Yeah, so the establishment is a Mediterranean restaurant.
And also American food, like hamburger, chicken fingers.
Mediterranean American.
It's also, do you need to add this? It's a hookah lounge? Hookah?
Yeah, Hookah Lounge. Yes,
Hookah Lounge.
I did. I thought I said that.
Yeah, you did. I
So
don't know if we should add that.
Yeah.
that's not something that we like approve or regulate. That's through like the health department. So
Right.
I'm assuming that you all have a license to.
Yes. He has his hookah license through the Department of Consumer Affairs, yeah.
Yes, I have it.
So I think that we can add that there too. Whereas, oh yeah, hookah lounge and restaurant, that sounds good. So these were the operating hours that were listed on your questionnaire. We just want to confirm that. Is
Are those
what you
hours
are
correct? I
asking for.
took those hours from the website, so I'm not, Ali, are those hours correct? You do want to confirm that.
So it says on the screen, 2 p.m. to 12 a.m., 7 days a week. Is that?
No. We close late. I'm honest.
So
Sometimes
open
2 o'clock.
later?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, so what are the hours?
Like we open 2 o'clock to weekdays 2 a.m. and weekend like 4 a.m.
Okay, you should change it on your website.
Okay, I will check it. I didn't realize that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's old website.
Yeah, your website's under
Construction. I believe they tried to fix it, but the guy, he went to Turkey. He couldn't fix it.
Okay, so you'll work on that.
He's coming when he come back Turkey because I pay him the guy. He was gonna do my website, and I am waiting. He come back from Turkey.
Okay, I am looking just on Google, and it does say that you're open till 4 a.m. on Google, like every day, 7 days a week. Is that?
No, weekday no. No customer. How I'm gonna open to 4 o'clock? And this is
Right.
Google. This yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes
so
they
I
put
just wanna
their own times.
Okay, that's fine.
Let me take that note. I will change that. I will
Okay.
call them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
You remind me.
Yeah, so I do appreciate your responsiveness to our request about the sidewalk, and I do trust.
You
that
see the
you'll-
Google, right? I'm sorry. Did you see on Google that which website?
Yeah, so like Google is listing you as 4 a.m. 7 days a week.
Okay. I will.
So,
I tell my manager he can call them.
yeah, I think it's
I Googled it as well and came up with I don't remember the site, but it listed you as 2 a.m. to midnight every day. So I guess you gotta just make a general correction to all of them.
I will. Thank you.
Okay.
Tell me.
Thank you. So these are the hours that we're granting, and you'll work on fixing them for the public as you can. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
So next, as I mentioned in Alexandra, there have been community complaints about the outdoor dining setup, but I think that we're all here in consensus that we appreciate the amendment that you made to your sidewalk seating. So I think that the next whereas the applicant, just like after this one, the applicant provided photographic evidence that they addressed the issue and that they address this, the space on the sidewalk, that they address the sidewalk space and are now providing 13 feet of clearance, which is more than the required 8 feet, the minimum requirement of 8 feet. Okay. I guess a stipulation could be, whereas the applicant agreed to make sure that their proper operating hours are represented online, or they're correct, sorry. Are reflected or displayed. Excuse me. We can say no members of the community had any comments for or against. And then, therefore, be it resolved, we have no objection to the application.
It wasn't voted on yet.
Right. Excuse me. So I think that it makes sense, as Jesus said, you know, to have the motion, look through this template and fix it as we see fit, and then vote all together. So we know, like, this is exactly what we're voting on. And, you know, maybe spelling or grammatical errors or names might be fixed, but this is like the crux of what we are passing as a committee. So I think now we can do the vote. And since we don't really have a lot on the agenda today, Alexandra, if it's not too much to ask to do another roll call.
Sorry, give me 1 second.
No worries.
Claire Brennan,
In favor.
Charles Fernandez,
In favor.
Paige Judge, Anton Malner,
In favor.
Seema Shah,
In favor.
Susan Steinberg,
In favor.
Michael Devereaux,
In favor.
Dan Devine, Jeannie D'Onofrio,
In favor.
John Keller, and Kevin O'Keefe.
I'm in favor.
So the resolution passes with 8 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstain, and 0 not entitled.
Thank you, Alexandra. And thank you both for joining us. And again, for your responsiveness and quick action to fix the sidewalk shed. It means a lot. And
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you. Have a good evening, everybody. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thank you, Kathleen. And
Actually,
thank you, Holly.
Alex wanted to confirm one detail, I'm sorry, with Mr. Ali Dogan.
Mhm.
What is his title?
President
President of?
Al Cafe. Oh, I'm sorry. He's a member. He's the operating member of Al Cafe of New York, LLC.
Operating member. Okay. Alex, have you got what you need?
Yes, thank you.
Great. Thank you all.
Thank you.
all.
Good night, everybody.
Have
Thank
a
you.
good night.
Thank you, everyone. Have a nice holiday.
Thank you, you too. Okay, so next up is a new on-premises license for Sam Sunny Inc. at 517 2nd Avenue. Jenny, are you here to walk us through?
Yes. Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so my name is Jenny Hong, and I'm here appearing on behalf of Sam Sunny Inc., located at 517 2nd Avenue. And this is a full liquor license. It's a new applicant. But from the record, I'm sure this was an existing restaurant. It was called before Dalton Signal. I don't know if you're, yeah, they started business from 2002, but this is not a transfer. I just wanted to put that out because they did have an existing full liquor license. So they're from the Department of Building, their certificate of occupancy, it's all, it's in good standing for them to get a full liquor license. And their operating hours will be from Monday through Sunday, 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. And because we just got their layout from their architect. We just got it actually when we left the office, and then he sent the email. So I actually attached the layout that it was sent to us, and I just sent, I don't know if you received it. I just sent that maybe a few minutes ago. And I do see that they do have a 40 seatings and 2 restrooms. And then the type of food that they'll be serving is a authentic Korean food. They will be serving Korean barbecue and Korean dishes. And the owner actually, he also have another business located at 856 10th Avenue. It's called The Gin. So this applicant, the principal has great experience running a restaurant from that, from prior. And so then he's actually opening up with second, but it's not going to be the same food. The Gin was serving just chicken, a traditional flavor from Korea also as well. But he will be, for this restaurant, is going to be an authentic Korean restaurant.
Great. Thank you for that summary. It's very clear to me and it lines up with the application. So I just have one question. I see that you all are not planning to do any outdoor dining.
No.
Okay, not even on the sidewalk.
No.
Okay. Do any committee members have questions for this establishment?
Any music? Will there be any music?
It'll be recorded music only.
Okay, thank you, Susan. I don't see any other questions from the committee or on the question and answer. Excuse me. Section of Zoom. So does anyone have a resolution to offer or a motion? Sorry.
Motion of no objection.
Seconded.
Thank you, Anton and Kevin. At this point, we can pull up the template if you have it ready, Alexandra. Great, thank you. So resolution of no objection. When you're typing live and presenting at the same time, you always miss finger. It's like guaranteed. So thank you for doing this, Alexandra. But yeah, this looks good. Jenny Hong and Annie Shin were here. authentic Korean food. I don't know if we want to like specify that it's like Korean barbecue food. I don't know if that really matters, but
Never hurts to be more precise.
yes.
Mhm.
Excuse me. And those are the operate.
The hours are, aren't they 12 p.m. to?
Right.
12 p.m. to 12 a.m. Yeah.
And sorry, I just wanted to confirm with Jenny and Annie that it's 12 p.m. because on the on your application.
That's correct. 12 p.m. to 12 a.m.
Okay, that's great. You can just delete that line. And there were no members of the community that raised any questions or concerns, and then we have no objection. And let's vote on this one as well, if you don't mind, Alex.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, Claire Brennan.
Yes, in favor.
Charles Fernandez.
In favor.
Paige Judge. Anton Malner.
In favor.
Seema Shaw.
In favor.
Susan Steinberg.
In favor.
Michael Devereaux.
In favor.
Dan Devine. Jeannie D'Onofrio.
In favor.
John Keller. And Kevin O'Keefe.
In favor.
The resolution passes with 8 in favor, 0 opposed, 0 abstain, and 0 not entitled.
Thank you. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you.
And walking us through. We wish you the best.
Same.
And
thank you.
The office will be in touch.
Okay, thank you. Enjoy your holiday.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So short agenda tonight. Those are all the folks that were scheduled to join us. Thank you everyone for your thoughtful questions and comments. We can now go to my report, which is pretty brief, but I guess we can also, as a committee, talk about that new template idea. As I said, I think it will go like faster as we continue to do it, should we decide to continue to do it this way. I just think that it, being able to confirm with the representatives while they're there, this is what we're writing, this is what we're resolving. It makes sense to me, but we are a group, and if someone else disagrees or has another idea as to how it might work, it might seem a little slow now, but I think it's going to avoid any potential issues in the future. But Jeannie.
Thanks, Claire. Yeah, I did have some initial concerns about the time it takes to walk through a reso, because I write plenty of these at home, and kind of going through the details, putting in the time frames and all that. I agree that it'll go faster. I'm just concerned when you have 6, 7, 8 of these in one evening, and you're literally going through the resolution. Maybe if we can just confirm certain things that are important to the resolution. Like, I think this is all stemming from misreporting the timing of the hours of the establishment. But you just want, because most of that's already on the application. So I think what we need to worry about is, I'm just throwing this out there, is the hours. But maybe if we can just say if I do a reso, I can share with somebody, make sure the facts are correct or whatever. I'm just worried about this taking a lot of time. So, but I'm willing to try this, if we get 6, 7, 8 of these, and there are 2 or 3 that are really problematic, it's going to really run into, a long evening. But I'm up for whatever you decide.
Thank you. I hear that, and definitely could see it getting a little long if we have a lot of applications. I will add, I think that the board office oftentimes has to chase folks down to write these resolutions, not you, Jeannie, but others, and kind of, it does become a little tedious for the office. So as we have it here now, it could take give them a little relief too, which I think
Sure. I'm all for that, to help them out with that. That's fine.
And it could be something that I could think about too in terms of timing. Maybe when I ask establishments to walk us through their application, we can kind of say, walk us through your application in 1 minute, and kind of have them be a little bit more succinct in their presentation, so we can kind of have more of a discussion or a back and forth about it while we're drafting the reso. So that I'll definitely keep timing in mind and try to make the conversation continue to move along. But thank you for that. Susan?
I share some of Jeannie's concerns, but I also think it's good in that it doesn't leave any doubts for the person who's responsible for writing the resolutions, which is no small thing. But I do understand, certainly initially, it's quite time consuming. And, we've had meetings where there've been 10 and 15 applicants, and I really will be here until midnight. Somehow or other, we don't speed things up. So as Jean suggested, maybe what we do is, we bring up the template and just fill in the things that might be an issue, like the hours or things of that nature, and don't get into, whether we object or don't object, and, like that. Just kind of focus in on on the information that would not be good if we got it wrong.
Yeah, I think I hear that for sure. And I think, we can kind of look at the template again and kind of see how that might be clearer, or like those specific points are highlighted. So we can just say, yes, these are the hours, and don't have to go like through it necessarily word by word as we're sitting here. But, as we all know, a lot of these applications are very similar, and it's just kind of like playing Mad Libs or whatever, like adding certain details. So maybe we can rethink what the template looks like as we're displaying it on the screen a little bit, to just kind of keep the most important details, to confirm those in the moment, and not necessarily crafting full sentences altogether. That is a good point as well. Michael?
Hey, thanks, Claire. I do agree that it is lengthy. And would the volunteering to write the resolution before the business goes help? And that person can be more attentive. I know you could watch it on YouTube later, but they could ask questions that pertains to their resolution and be more clear before we go on to the next resolution. Would that help?
So are you saying, like, instead of Alexandra prepping these resolutions in advance, we ask like a committee member to do that?
No, I'm saying, like, as we go through the meeting, you know how at the end when the business already gives all their spiel, then you say, oh, who would like to write this resolution? instead that before the business goes, you say who would like to write the next resolution, and then I would say I'll write the next one. And as they're going through the, the resolution, and as they're going through the spiel, you can kind of ask questions and know that this is going to be your resolution, so you can maybe be more attentive and ask the questions pertaining to the resolution if you miss something, or if you missed the time, or you missed the person's name, or a detail that might help you write the resolution.
That's an interesting idea. We can think about that a little bit more. I also I think that having multiple people doing different resolutions could be a little tricky, and we have a lot of back and forth, and there's a ton of emails to pay attention to. So I think that maybe I would encourage one person to do, especially if we have this template format, the last little fixes that might be necessary. If we decide to just kind of draft them in more of quick write form and then tweaking later, I think that I would encourage just one person to work on all of them, especially if it's not a from scratch effort. But I want to hear from Seema.
I know I was only there for the last 2 votes, but is the idea that we would vote on each one out loud then?
It's less of voting out loud, but more of having a template before us. Sorry, I know that you came late, but basically in order to make sure that there's no discrepancies between what we decide on in person, talking it through. And oftentimes we see that, an establishment, the lawyer, exactly like what happened with Babylon, a lawyer looks at the website and sees that the hours are listed some way, and then the applicant comes in and says, no, actually the hours aren't that. But then if the person writing the resolution is relying more heavily on the application and less on the transcripts, or if the minutes aren't available, we can't use those, it just kind of could come up. It's a unique case, but it did happen that the applicant said, no, you said that we could have our liquor license or be serving until this time, but that wasn't what was on the application. But it was discussed in the committee, if that makes sense. So we were thinking that maybe having a template of the resolution, which is available to all committee members as they write the resolution, just up on the screen. And Alexandra graciously agreed to kind of fill in what was decided on in the moment. And then that creates less work once the meeting is adjourned for everyone, and also ensures that all details are clear and accepted between all.
Yeah, no. Thank you for that explanation. I totally get all that. I was just curious if we were going to for these, the ones that I was part of, at least we did vote. I'm just curious if that's what we're hoping to do for all of them, because otherwise it was just any nays, any,
Yeah, so that does add to the timing of it, because we only had 3 items on the agenda, and the first one was a little bit more contentious. I did just continue the voting process, but I think the second 2, I didn't necessarily have to have a vote.
Okay.
As we were doing it in the past. Sorry, that was just something for tonight.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. No, that was just my question. I mean, I forgot if it was Michael who made the point. I think it was around having someone, if Alexandra can do it, obviously I think that's so generous of her. But maybe it's having one person assigned, how we have monthly meeting minutes, we have another person just doing all of the filling in for the month too, for all of them. I don't know if that like ends up being easier or not, but this just felt a little bit, not confusing is actually not the right word. Maybe this felt a little cumbersome. Maybe that's a little bit of a better word. So maybe we have like one person responsible for that month to just like kind of prep everything and then change as needed.
So that is definitely like a valid suggestion, but I guess I'll throw it back to the committee. Are folks willing to sign up for that period? You know, like I feel like there's often times when we're like pulling teeth, or I'm kind of like, can anyone write this? You know, like, is that something that as a committee we can all agree to? You know, if you are the one to be writing these resos or filling them in the moment, like, would you be able to do that prep work in advance of the committee meeting? Like, I just am not really convinced that folks will do that. And I don't want to doubt you all, because I do appreciate all of your time and effort, but I just don't necessarily see that happening. And I think that, as we said, it's great that Alexandra's willing to do this and able to. I just feel like that's kind of more of a like guarantee that it will be done, instead of potentially someone having something come up or just forgetting to do it.
Well, how about
Actually, sorry, Susan.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Since Alexandra is now a pro at preloading all the information, what if she were to get preloaded resolutions to one person who could print them out and make whatever changes as we're going through each applicant, so that, you know, basically they would have the resolution in front of them. And if there are any changes to the preloaded information, they make it right on their copy, and then it can be finalized, and they can, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think that like just thinking about the logistics of it and like being in a Zoom world, it took a long time for that lawyer to kind of figure out how to display her screen. And if someone isn't comfortable with that or might not want to be typing that out in the moment, like this process won't really work if it's printed and like handwritten in your own personal space versus like displayed for all to see.
Oh, I didn't mean displayed. I didn't mean that. I mean, just, you know, when the information that we need is verified, whoever is doing the resolution would be at home taking notes, not displaying it. Then after the meeting is over, the resolutions can be completed or finalized and then sent in.
Right. So you would still, I think that part of it, or the thought that we were going through is kind of like to have it displayed so everyone can be on the same page and see that this is exactly what's being written, and agree to it together. But Jeannie did have her hand up.
I had a question. Is it an issue? Do we need to be reminded to get our resolutions in on time? Is this an issue with why we're going through this? Are you getting a lot of resolutions in very late, or you have to keep on reminding folks to get them into you? And I do like the idea if we can volunteer at the beginning. Like I would say, not one person. If you have tonight would be great. Like I would do all the resolutions tonight. It's 3, but other nights it's like 8, 9, 10, and then that like, geez, I wouldn't mind splitting those resolutions with someone, you know, another person. But maybe we just need to be reminded to, you know, just to get our resolutions in on time.
Yeah, I do think timeliness has been an issue, and I also like am not saying that that's not me who also like creates that problem for the office too. I think that there are a lot of last minute submissions and like chasing from the office. I think that if we can kind of reach out, I don't really know, like if it's a big night, someone can be responsible for the odd agenda items and someone else do the evens. We could split it up that way. But the hope with doing these templates in advance or while we're all here is to reduce the amount of work that needs to be done after the fact. So if it's just kind of like looking back at the application and seeing how someone's name is spelled or who exactly they were coming here, like those are like the smaller tweaks that someone would need to be responsible for, but you're not like writing full resolutions for every agenda item. That comes
I say we go ahead and we try it again, and as you say, we'll get better at it and
right.
More efficient.
Mm-hmm. And so then in advance of the next meeting, maybe when Alexandra sends the reminder, we can see how many applications come up to us. And if it's, I don't know, we could put if it's over 3 or over 5 or something, like we can kind of have one number that's like, okay, this is like 2 people have to be responsible for this versus just one person handling all of them. We can kind of talk that out. Yeah, we can see how it works. And, next month in the reminder email, Alexandra can say, I do think that sometimes if you go through an agenda item and it becomes longer than you expect, that could be like discouraging for someone to opt into writing the notes. So I guess if we do have someone committed to doing it in advance of the meeting, that's that, and they have to do them. So I think that in advance of next month, we can put a request for 1 or 2 people who are willing to write the resolutions that come up during that meeting. Michael.
Thanks, Claire. The one thing I wanted to suggest maybe, because it seems like and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm newer, it seems like the renewals are always the longer ones. Maybe having Alexandra do the renewals and then we can volunteer to do the new ones. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. And I appreciate your participation in this discussion. And I think you have great ideas. The renewals, usually, most of the renewals that come to us get like blanket approval unless there has been issues. So that means, if there were 311 complaints, or if they're in this time with outdoor dining, if there were any complaints about sidewalk seating issues, noise complaints, then those renewals do get called in and kind of have to, as you said, like explain in detail where, they're coming from, what happened in order for them to be receiving these complaints, kind of just like explain the situation and commit to fixing their behavior. So yeah, it actually kind of is that the office already does do most of the renewals just on their own, but that's an interesting idea to break it up differently.
Yeah, and that's I just meant the renewals that we do, like the ones that are brought in, because like the 2 we had tonight were the long, and it seemed like they were a little more, I don't want to say important, but like, the one, they can't even serve liquor anymore. So there's details that really have to go into these. I would think that, maybe having the office handle that would be better.
Yeah, so we can kind of like look at the applications in advance. And if we think that maybe some might be contentious or have a little bit more specific details to focus on, then maybe those are the ones that Alexandra does. That's a good idea too. I think as we're talking this through, this is a new idea and we'll see what works and what doesn't work. I think that there might be like a few months of this and tweaking it to see if next month we get 10 applications and it just goes on and on, then obviously we'll have to make some changes too. So I think that we can kind of agree that this is a trial period and keep trying until we have something sorted, or until we're here till midnight one night and we say, no, we're doing it the old way. But I think that I appreciate your willingness to try something new and to think about how to make this as seamless as possible for everyone. I don't know if anyone from the board office has something else to add or kind of thoughts before we move on.
No, I mean, I think this is an interesting conversation, and I think it's a conversation that sort of has to play out. And at least in the office, whenever something goes wrong, we try to figure out why it went wrong and try to find ways to fix it so it never goes wrong again. This partly comes from a fact that that there was something wrong in one of the resolutions regarding the hours, and then it was brought to our attention, weeks and weeks and weeks later, and the lawyer called us, and then changing resolutions after they're passed at full board can get kind of dicey, and so we want to try to avoid that and make sure that they're right the first time. And yes, there are going to be trade-offs. That does mean if you're going line by line, it's going to take a little bit longer. But if you look at it, that means that on the other end, when someone's at home, they don't have to put in as much time writing the reso. So, it may just be that it takes the same amount of time. It's just that it's in a different place now. And we're willing to try whatever the committee wants to do. We were just trying to help the committee, since you guys usually are the ones that have like lots of resolutions, to help it better do its work. But in the end, I mean, whatever you guys want to do, that's what we'll do. But no, I mean, I think Claire's right. Maybe let's try this a little while and just sort of see if we can work out the kinks. Maybe everything for every application is like state your name, spell your name, what's your title, what are your hours. And we saw a lot of these hours, they came directly from the questionnaires and they were still wrong. So, maybe this is necessary. And if we don't catch them, then there's going to be a lot of these issues. So we may have to invest a little bit more time to make sure that they're right. But we're willing to work with you guys. And it's not like we're looking for extra work to do. If you guys want to take this on your own, we'd be happy to give it to you.
Right.
But we live in reality, so and we're here. This is our job, so we're willing to do it so that the resolutions that come out of this committee are the best that they can be. So we're just here to support you guys.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jesus. I will say, actually, what you just mentioned reminds me that I've been to other boards, committee meetings where I was kind of shocked to see them draft resolutions in the moment. And I'm speaking specifically on transportation issues where, it was line by line, debate, but what happened was that it was a resolution that the whole committee supported. It did take a lot more time, but I do think that our committee is unique in that there are just like basic facts that we can fill right in, and we need to know all of the information and have it properly reflected on our resolution before it gets sent off. But it's more of like a checklist than, nuanced sentences where every word matters. So I just wanted to add that, in thinking through how we could, as Jesus said, fix a problem that came up. I was a little hesitant at first, and I think that I'm hearing all of you kind of worry about the time that it will take. But I think that, again, as we go through them and maybe tweak the Word document or even find a different kind of way to populate the resolution, I do hope that it'll be quicker for everyone involved once we get it down to a perfect science. So thank you again, Jesus, and everyone for thinking about this more and being patient with me. I do think that we'll be able to nail something down that works and is a little different than how we have been doing things, but stay tuned. Does anyone else have like a last comment to say on that? We'll see how it goes. In terms of the rest of my report, that's kind of, I think, it for today, but does anyone have any old or new business that they wanted to bring up? I don't see any hands up, so I wonder if anyone has a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you,
By
Seema.
Seema.
Thank you. And so if there are no objections, we will adjourn the meeting for this evening.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you.
Thank
Jeannie.
you.
Thank you, everyone. So seeing no objections or no further business, the meeting is adjourned at 8:24 p.m. And I just want to thank you all again for being here. I hope everyone had good Thanksgiving.